Good morning, everyone. As chairperson of the Alcohol Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with DC Official Code Section 25764 of the Open Meetings Act, I am welcoming you to a regular scheduled meeting of the Alcohol Beverage Control Board. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to guidance made available by the District of Columbia's Office of Open Government regarding electronic meetings held by public bodies during the public health emergency. Pursuant to this guidance, notice of today's meeting was provided 48 hours in advance of the meeting on ABRA's website and on the district's central meeting calendar. The notice included the time, date, agenda, and call-in or log-in information for public participation. This electronic meeting has been hosted by a WebEx account provided by the District of Columbia government. Please address any questions or complaints to the OOG at opengovoffice@dc.gov. My name is Donovan Anderson. I'm the chairman of the board. I would like to introduce the other members of the ABC board who are also participating electronically pursuant to Mayor's Order 2020-054. Please respond when I announce your name. Mr. James Short.
Mr. James.
Mr. Bobby Cato.
Bobby Cato, present.
Ms. Rima Wahabzada.
Rima Wahabzada, present.
Ms. Rafi Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, present.
Ms. Jenny Henson.
Jenny Hansen, present.
Mr. Ed Grandis.
Ed Grandis, present.
The board has 7 members in attendance for the conduct of business today, and that constitutes a quorum. Before we get underway with today's hearing calendar, I need to make a few instructions very clear so that the conduct of these hearings is understood by everyone. Today's hearings are being conducted through a WebEx account provided by the DC Office of Open Government. There are 8 cases scheduled for today. We have a morning session and an afternoon session. Once your case is called, I will take a moment for our IT specialist to elevate the rights for each party to enable their camera and microphone. Then and only then will you have the ability to engage your equipment. If your case is not being heard, you will remain mute and your camera will be disabled. At the conclusion of each case, the parties will have the option to leave. If the party chooses to stay, all cameras and microphones for the concluded case will be disabled. Should you have any questions or require technical assistance during the hearing, please submit them using the question and answer feature or email simone.andrews2@dc.gov. Our first order of business today, it's a show cause hearing status case number 19 AUD 00041, Cura Ethiopian Fusion Restaurant, license number 105042. I will now take a moment for our IT specialist to elevate the rights for each party of this case to enable their camera and microphone. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the OAG attorney, Mr. Stephen Ortiz, please.
Mr. Ortiz, your camera and your microphone has been enabled.
And can you please elevate the rights of Mr. Mershaw Senshaw if he's on the line, please?
He is not present, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ortiz, this is a show cause hearing status. Good morning. Can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, board members. Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
And I see that and because it's a little bit different, I know sometimes we've had conversation with the licensee, so we're not sure whether the licensee is going to show up. But just as an FYI, have you had any conversation with the licensee, Mr. Ortiz?
Yes, there have been some conversations with the licensee, trying to negotiate this matter.
All right. Well, what I will do, because this is a show cause hearing status, the board then will set this matter for a show cause hearing for a date to be determined. We don't have an exact date, but we will determine that date. That we will advise you of the date, Mr. Ortiz, and hopefully you will be in communication with the licensee and to agree on the date. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next case in our calendar is case number 19 AUD 00085, Po Boy Jim. And Mr. Ortiz is already on the line. And Miss Andrews, I do not know if the licensee for Po Boy Jim is on the line. Are you?
Yes, 1 second, please. Ms. Rebecca, you can enable your camera and your microphone.
Okay.
That's all, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. The licensee, can you enable your camera? Do you have a camera on your phone?
Yes, I do.
Your camera, are you able to enable your video, please?
Okay, hold on 1 second. Give me a second.
Thank you.
That's what I did last time. Then you find turn on it.
Hold on. I'm new to this, so give me a minute. I'm sorry.
We're all new to this, so you can take a minute, please.
Okay. But I'm here. Is there someone that can tell me where do I enable the camera? Because once I click on it, I don't know what's going on. Hold on 1 second.
Do you see something that says start video? Can you click on that button, please?
Start video.
Yes, do you see that on your?
I'm on my cell phone, so I don't know if it makes a difference.
I told you to use my iPhone.
All right. All right. All right. And normally I ask folks to turn their video on, but because all right, let's start and then I'll put something on the record. We'll start with the government. Can the government please identify themselves for the record, please, and spell their name, please?
Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia. That's Stephen, STEPHEN, Ortiz, ORTIZ.
Good morning, Mr. Ortiz. Miss Antone, can you please identify your name for the record, please, and please spell your first and last name, please?
Sure. I'm Rebecca Antoine, A-N-T-O-I-N-E, last name, owner of Po Boy Jim. This is the one located at 709 H Street Northeast in Washington, D.C.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Antone. And normally I'll ask that folks for video, but because you have appeared before me before, I do recognize your voice. So I can state that the person, because you've appeared before me before, and you do have a distinctive voice, I will verify that the person that we're speaking, that is speaking on the phone, who has represented themselves to the board as the owner of Po Boy Jim, that this is actually the person, although I'm unable to see them. All right, Mr. Ortiz, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
There are no preliminary matters at this time.
All right, thank you. And because there are no preliminary matters, Miss Anton, this matter has been scheduled for a show cause hearing for a date to be determined. So therefore, the ABC board will provide you and Mr. Ortiz with a date and time for the show cause hearing. I would ask both parties to continue to speak. So if this matter can be settled prior to the hearing, then that would be appreciated. So if there are no further questions or concern, then I'm going to adjourn this hearing. Do you understand, Ms. Antoine?
Yes, I do.
Sorry.
I don't have any additional questions.
All right. Thank you very much and have a great day. All
You
right.
too. Thank you. Mhm.
All right. All right. The next case on our calendar is case number 19 AUD 00081, Whoppers Restaurant, license number 16332. The government's microphone is already on. And Ms. Andrews, if we have the licensees for Whoppers Restaurant, could you please elevate their rights, please?
Mr. Markowitz, your rights have been elevated.
Okay, I'm here.
Good morning. Good morning. Can we have the parties please introduce themselves for the record and spell their name, starting with the government, please? Mr. Ortiz.
Yeah, my apologies. Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
And can we have you, Mr. Marcus, can you please say and spell your name for the record, please, and identify your affiliation?
Yes, sir. It's Barry Markowitz, BARY, I'm their CPA for the business, and that's my association with Guapo's Restaurant.
Who is the owner? Who's the owner of the restaurant? Normally we need to have an owner, someone who's on the. Well, let me ask a question. Mr. Ortiz, is there any preliminary matters in this case?
There are no preliminary matters at this time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Markowitz, in the future, if you are going to come on to represent this establishment, you need to provide the AB, and I don't know, I've not been told whether or not this has been done, but you need to provide the agency with a letter of authorization from the establishment stating that you are authorized to speak, to represent Guapo's Restaurant at ABC here. But
yes, sir. That has been provided to Mr. Ortiz.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ortiz, have you been provided a letter saying that Mr. Markowitz is able to represent the establishment?
Yeah, so this, just give you a brief history on this. This case derived from prior to the pandemic. So we were in negotiations, and then Mr. Markowitz did provide me with a letter from Guapo's back in March. And
all right, then what I'll ask Mr. Ortiz is that in the future, please let me know, because normally if we were meeting in person, then I would ask that that would be provided to me. But because we're doing this virtually, then I would just ask that I be informed if the person does not identify themselves as owner, I need the record to reflect that and authorization. Mr. Marcus, can you please mute your phone, please?
I apologize. There was something going on with the video, the audio. I couldn't really hear what you said. I apologize at the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you to mute your phone. Then you'll be able to hear me. That's better. So I was just saying to Mr. Ortiz that just let me know that the representative of the establishment has provided authorization, so I will know to move forward. All right, thank you then for Mr. Ortiz and for the representation. And you're stated that there are no preliminary matters, is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. Then this matter then it will be scheduled for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. And we will contact both the licensee and the government. I will if you're able to continue speaking about this case to see if it can be settled. If it's not settled, then we will provide some dates when we will have the show cause hearing status. And what I'll ask Mr. Ortiz, if you have not provided the letter of authorization to the agency, can you please provide the agency with a copy of the authorization, so at least the agency will share with me. So if we do move forward with an OIC or a hearing, I don't have to ask that question again, okay?
Understood, yeah, I'll get that to you during the break.
All right, thank you very much. If there are no other concerns, then this matter is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay, so then we will be notified when the date is that we're supposed to appear later on. Is that correct?
The agency will notify if this is going through a full show cause hearing, the agency will notify you when the date of the hearing. Because of the pandemic, we are not normally at a show cause hearing, we'll let you know when the next hearing is, but we're still trying to figure out how to do this. So this is actually the first full day since the pandemic has started. This is actually the first full day that we're having our full calendar of hearings. So we'll let you know when the next date of the hearing. If there is some type of conflict, you can work out with Mr. Ortiz and the agency if the date is not a date that works for you, sir. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we don't need to do anything else at this time until we receive the date. Right. However, you and Mr. Ortiz, if you guys want to come up to some agreement, you can continue talking. But if you believe that an agreement will be reached, if not, we'll be notified when the next hearing is. All right. Thank you very much. So Mr. Ortiz then will notify me or contact me or we'll talk. No, the agency, the same way you got notice today for today's hearing, the agency will notify you when the show cause hearing is scheduled for. So we will serve on the establishment the date when the show cause hearing is scheduled for. The same way the establishment was notified that this hearing is scheduled for today, you will also be notified in that same manner when the show cause hearing is scheduled for. Right, but you had said that if me and Mr. Ortiz can come up to a solution prior to that, then we would not have the hearing. Is that correct? That is what would occur if you and Mr. Ortiz come up to an agreement. Then the hearing would schedule the hearing, and would schedule the hearing, and you would present that agreement on the record, because you have to appear at another hearing. Even if you have an agreement, you have to at a hearing to put that on the record. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. All right. Is Mr. Ortiz then going to contact me if we can then come to a solution, or is this offer from before the only solution?
I will contact you and we'll continue our negotiations.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Have a great day then. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. The next case in our calendar is case number 19 CC 00134, Town Wine and Liquor. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the owner of Town Wine? I think I have Mr. Che Joy Yen as the owner of Town Wine. Unless
Sure.
Mr.
Mr. Joey Chen, you're now a panelist. And Mr. Manora, you're now a panelist.
Hello.
Good morning. Can the parties identify themselves for the record, starting with the government, please?
Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
Good morning. And Mr. Manora, can you identify yourself for the record and also spell your name, please?
Sure. Matthew Menora from the law firm of Malleus and O'Brien, we're ABC licensed counsel for the licensee. My last name is spelled M-I-N-O-R-A.
And is the licensee on the line also, Mr. Manora?
Correct, yes, Joey Chen.
Mr. Chen, can you identify yourself for the record and spell your name, please?
Yeah, Joey Chen, Joey, last name Chen.
And good morning, Mr. Chen. Good morning, Mr. Manora. Good morning, Mr. Ortiz. And Mr. Manora, Mr. Ortiz, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
There are no preliminary matters at this time.
All right, thank you. Since there are no preliminary matters in this case, the board will set this matter for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. And Mr. Manora, because of the pandemic, the board, normally, as you're aware, we would issue a date for the show cause hearing at this matter, but because we're still working the process out, so the agency will inform both yourself and Mr. Ortiz of the date for the show cause hearing. If this matter can be settled, I would suggest that the parties continue to talk and let the board know whether or not, and then we can schedule a date much more quickly if we'll have a preliminary matter, okay? So if there are no other questions or concern, this matter is adjourned.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, the next case in our calendar, is case number 19 CMP 00124, Golden Paradise Restaurant, license number 982085. This hearing is canceled due to the cancellation of the license on March 11th, 2020. See board order number 2020-154. The next case in our calendar is case number 19 CMP 00191, DC City Smokehouse, license number 98368. I would ask that Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of, I believe, Melvin Hines Jr. or whoever the representative is for DC Smokehouse, please.
Mr. Hines, your rights have been elevated. Please enable your camera and your microphone.
Hello.
Good morning. Can we have the parties introduce themselves for the record and please spell your name starting with the government, please?
Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
Good morning, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Hines, can you please identify yourself for the record, please?
Melvin Hines, representative for D City Smokehouse, Southeast Restaurant Group.
Mr. Hines, are you an owner? I'm trying to, since I don't know the, you are one of the, you're in the ownership group of?
Yes.
Yes, all right, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Ortiz, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
Yes, there are some preliminary matters. The parties have agreed to an offer in compromise.
And what is the offer in compromise, sir?
As to the only charge of no ABC manager, the OIC term is that the establishment shall pay $2,000 within 90 days, or its license shall be suspended indefinitely until this fine is paid.
All right, Mr. Hines, it's my understanding that there is an offer in compromise, and the offer in compromise is a fine of $2,000 payable within 90 days. And if the fine is not payable in 90 days, the license will be suspended until the fine has been paid. Is this your understanding, sir, of the offer in compromise?
Yes, it is.
Are you aware, sir, that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to a hearing?
Yes, I am.
Are you also aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to appeal this matter?
Yes, I am.
With that said, I then make a motion that the offer in compromise of a fine of $2,000 be payable within 90 days. If the fine is not payable in 90 days, the license will be suspended until the fine has been paid. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. Are there any questions or concerns by any board members? Hearing none, can I ask that my board members, please, I need you to be online, please. All right, we're gonna now have since the offer in compromise has been seconded by Mr. Short, I'm gonna have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0. The board has therefore accepted the offer and compromise. Normally, if we were in the office, the board would provide you with the precipice for both parties to sign, but I assume that's been taken care of I assume that's been taken care of. So you have, Mr. Hines, you have 90 days from today for your group to pay this fine. I want to thank the parties for working this matter out, and have a great day if there are no other concerns.
I have an administrative question.
Yes, Mr. Hines.
How does the payment get paid? Am I mailing this in, considering COVID restrictions, or is the office open to accept payments?
The office is open. The office is open to accept. The office is open, but you can speak to Mr. Ortiz and between Mr. Ortiz and the agency to figure out how the payment can be made. But the office is open. The office, Abra, has been open throughout with a limited skeleton staff, but the agency is open. All right. Thank you very much. Thank the parties very much for their participation, and thank the parties from working this out. And then this matter therefore is dismissed. Thank you. All right. I don't know if Mr. Hines, if you left, but there's a drop box, I was told, for payments. There's a drop box that you could drop it off. You could drop the payment off at the Abra office. All right. Thank you. That matter is dismissed. Okay. The next case in our calendar is case number 19, CMP 00179, King Convenience Store, license number 89932. And Ms. Andrews, are you able to, I am not sure if the licensee is online. So if the licensee is online, can you please elevate their rights, please?
There is no participants available for this case.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Mr. Ortiz, and I will just move on because it's a show cause hearing status. This matter will be scheduled for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. With that, the board will then recess until our 1:30 hearing. All right. Thank you. All right then. Hold on a minute. Let me, since all board members are there, so let's Bless you. Let's go back on the record. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Let's go back for the record. I was just looking at the time. And since, let's go back on the record. And what we will do, since we're back where we have some time, let's do our legal agenda. All right? So the first matter on our legal agenda is a review of an offer in compromise in lieu of a hearing for PAPI, FRLA license number 099659. And the offer in compromise reads as follows. The District of Columbia, jointly with the licensee, submits this offer in compromise to the AB Alcoholic Beverage Control Board as authorized by 23 DCMR Section 1604.5 for approval by the board. The parties understand that if the board approves the OIC, this office will conclude and any scheduled show cause hearing will be vacated. Respondent will be obligated to abide by the terms of the OIC, a fine, suspension, both or other terms shown below. If the board does not approve the OIC, the matter will be continued to the scheduled show cause hearing currently not set. The respondent has been advised that there is no obligation to accept an OIC. Respondent has also been advised through service of the notice of status hearing and show cause hearing that at the show cause hearing, respondent may be represented by legal counsel, have subpoenas issued to require the production of witnesses and evidence, produce witnesses and evidence, cross-examine witnesses, and apply to the board for a qualified interpreter. The charge one is increasing the interior occupancy of the licensed establishment in violation of section 25.823A7. The statutory authority is section 823A1. The fine is a written warning. I make a motion that the board accepts this offer in compromise. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We will now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahabzada.
Wahabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0-0. The next matter, excuse me a minute, please. And I apologize for the paper noise, but unfortunately I'm working with a lot of paper, so I apologize that the paper noise that's been received. The next matter on our agenda, our legal agenda, is a review of an offer in compromise in lieu of a hearing dated October 30th, 2020 for case number 19 CMP 00125, half smoke, license number 100855. The offer in compromise reads, the District of Columbia, jointly with the licensee respondent, submits this offer in compromise to the Alcohol Beverage Control Board as authorized by 23 DCMR Section 1604.5 for approval by the board. The parties understand that if the board approves the OIC, this case will be concluded and any scheduled show cause hearing will be vacated. Respondent will be obligated to abide by the terms of the OIC, a fine, suspension, both or other terms shown below. If the board does not approve the OIC, the matter will be continued to the scheduled show cause hearing currently not set. The respondent has been advised that there is no obligation to accept an OIC. Respondent has been advised through service of the notice of status hearing and show cause hearing that at a show cause hearing, respondent may be represented by legal counsel, have subpoenas issued to require the production of witnesses and evidence, produce witnesses and evidence, cross-examine witnesses, and apply to the board for a qualified interpreter. The terms of the OIC are as follows. Charge 1, no ABC manager or owner on duty. Statutory authority, DC Official Code Section 25701, Section 823A1. The fine, a fine of $2,000 to be paid within 90 days, or the license shall be suspended indefinitely until this fine is paid. I make a motion that the board accept the OIC. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Rafi Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0-0. All right. 6-0-0, I apologize. 6-0-0. All right. All right, the next matter on our legal agenda, it's a review of a request by ANC 6D to extend protest petition deadline dated October 16th, 2020. This is in the case of Friendly Food Market, license number 060722. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Rafi Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0-0. Thank you. And again, I apologize for all this paper noise, but unfortunately, I have to deal with a lot of paper to read the agenda. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of a motion to continue protest status hearing dated October 27th, 2020 in the Paul Viet USA matter license number 116771. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Rafi Cato.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of a motion to continue protest status hearing dated October 27th, 2020 in the matter of J.S. Mart Liquor, license number 116822. I make a motion that we approve this request? Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Wahab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis, Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of protestants' motion to dismiss application filed, or in the alternative for summary denial of the application filed in the establishment was MAHK Meetings LLC, to be determined the license number is 116881. I make a motion that we approve this. I'm sorry, I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Wahab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis, Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0-0. All right, hold on 1 minute, please. I'm looking at the legal agenda, and I believe that I called Poppy license number 09969. I've also called Half Smoke license 100855. And I also thought I called Friendly's David Market. Did I call that case?
You did not, Mr. Chairman.
Then thank you. Let me move back then. So this is number 3 on our legal agenda. It's a review of a request by ANC 6D to extend protest petition deadline dated October 16th, 2020 in the Friendly Food Market license number 060722. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote, and the motion has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Wahab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis, Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0-0. All right. So let's move forward to our legal agenda. The next matter on our legal agenda, it's a review of opposition to motion to dismiss application, or in the alternative for summary denial of the application for the matter was MAHK Meetings LLC, trade name to be determined, license number 116881. This matter is now moot. The next matter on our agenda, it's review of protestants' reply in support of motion to dismiss application, or in the alternative for summary denial for application in the MAHK Meetings trade name to be determined, license number 116881. This matter is now moot also. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of second-year annual license fee payment deadline notice of emergency rulemaking. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis, Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 6-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review of MPD reimbursable details subsidy program hours of eligible to notice of emergency rulemaking. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short,
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We will now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda, it's the review of medical cannabis non-resident definition notice of emergency rulemaking. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our licensing agenda. The first matter on our licensing agenda is a review application for safekeeping of license, Fins McCool's license number 107078. I make a motion that we approve this request through March 31st, 2021. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review application for safekeeping of license, U Street Music Hall, license number 083219. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0. The next matter on our licensing agenda is a review application for entertainment endorsement with cover charge to provide live entertainment outdoors in the summer garden. This is Ghost Line, license number 117089. I make a motion that we refer this matter back to licensing. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote, and the motion has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahab-Zada,
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our licensing agenda is a review request to expand operations into the second floor of the premises. This is for the Good Guys Restaurant, license number 000899. I make a motion that we placard this matter. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Mr. Short and Ms. Crockett second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I,
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review application for change of hours for Tony's Market, license number 102043. I make a motion that we approve this matter. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review application for change of hours for Harvard Liquors, license number 114547. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review request to correct address of approved off-site storage facility for Justin's House of Bourbon, license number 116888. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review request for approval to provide a gift of single-use blankets that do not exceed $500 in value to various licensed DC realtors. The request has been made by Breakthrough Beverage, license number 060518. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I,
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our supplemental licensing agenda. The first matter on our supplemental licensing agenda is to review a request to remove license from safekeeping to reopen next week. The request has been made by St. Vincent Wine, license number 114428. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next request in our supplemental license agenda is a review request for a temporary operating retail permit for City Sliders, license number 117354. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our cancellation agenda. The ABC Board will be canceling the following license for the reasons outlined below. The public option license number 094158, the licensee requests cancellation. I make a motion that we cancel this license. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that was properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our notice, our vacate, cease and desist orders agenda for C&D licensed taverns. There are several licensees on this agenda item. I will read the names of all the licensees. And once I've read the names of all the licensees, then I will make a motion that we vacate the order because it's for the same reason that we're going to vacate the order. So the first establishment on this agenda to vacate the order, it's Angelica Pop-Up, license number 095111. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 28, 2020. The second establishment is Rosemary D. Italia, license number 109613. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 29, 2020. The next establishment is a Passenger, license number 100573. The licensee paid second year payment on October 29th. Smoke and Barrel, license number 088772. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 29th. Brooklyn Pint, license number 093948. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 29th. The Capital Lounge, license number 023601. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 29th. Imperial, license number 109169. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 31st. Grand Duchess, license number 106575. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 30th. Vivid, license number 105922. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 30th. Mama San Harlot, license number 114205. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 30th. Smith's, license number 1108 02, the licensee paid the second year payment on October 30th. Bujo's Restaurant, license number 115711, licensee paid the second year payment on October 30th. Bucom Cafe, license number 026466, licensee paid the second year payment on November 2nd. The Haymaker, license number 084689, the licensee paid the second year payment on November 2nd. Mellow Mushroom, license number 086063, licensee paid the second year payment on October 2nd. Secret Lounge, license number 107123, licensee paid second year payment on October 2nd. Trattoria al Volo, license number 108217, licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. Kitsuing, license number 110893, licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. I therefore make a motion that the ABC board vacate the cease and desist orders for all the C and D licenses, the taverns that I just read in the record. Is there a second?
Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote, and the motion has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Remo Abzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We're now moving to our, we're moving to our vacate, cease, and desist orders agenda for our Class A licenses. The ABC board is vacating the following orders to cease and desist previously issued on October 28, 2020. I will read the names in the record. Once I've read the names in the record, then we'll have a roll call vote on the establishments. The first establishment is 4th Carroll Market, license number 091423. The licensee paid the third year payment on October 29, 2020. Capital Fine Wine and Spirits, license number 082981. The licensee paid third year payment on October 29, 2020. Best One Liquors, license number 109545. The licensee paid third year payment on October 30th, 2020. And Divines, license number 091199. The licensee paid made the payment. I therefore make a motion that the ABC board vacates the cease and desist orders agenda for these Class A licenses that were read in the record. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Remo Abzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our notice of meeting, the vacate, cease, and desist orders agenda for C and D license, which are the clubs, multipurpose facilities, restaurant, hotels, marine vessels. The ABC board is vacating the following orders to cease and desist previously issued on October 28th, 2020. Again, I will read the names of the establishments in the record, and once I've read all the names of the establishment, I'll make a motion for us to vacate these orders. The first establishment is Sukaramen Ramen Bar, license number 11446. The licensee paid second year payment on October 29th, 2020. Bull, license number 097380. The licensee paid second year payment on October 29th, 2020. The next establishment is SBTia Methacaleria, license number 099558. The licensee paid the second year payment on October 29th, 2020. Maketo, license number 090445. The licensee paid second year payment on October 29th, 2020. Emmy Squared, license number 115133. The licensee paid second year payment on October 29th. Embassy Suites Hotel, license number 108842. Licensee paid second year payment on October 29th. Pearl Plum, license number 107307. Paid second year payment on October 30th. Destination Wedding, license number 088683. The licensee paid the second year payment on November 2nd. Valor Brew Pub, license number 071793. Licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd, 2020. National Elite, license number 077414-4. The licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. Potomac Taxi 1, license number 098753-4. Licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. Potomac Taxi 2, license number 098753-5. Licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. Potomac Taxi 3, license number 098753-6. Licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd, 2020. Potomac Taxi 4, license number 098753-7. Licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. And Lady Josephine, license number 098753-8. The licensee paid second year payment on November 2nd. I therefore make a motion that the ABC board vacate the cease and desist orders that were issued for those C and D licenses that were just read in the record. Is there a second? Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on a motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Rafi Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahabzada.
Abzara, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Anderson, I agree. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis.
Yes, Ed Grandis, I.
The matter therefore passes 7-0. We now move to our notice of meeting for the vacate, cease, and desist orders agenda for Class B licenses. The ABC board is vacating the following orders to cease and desist previously issued on October 28th, 2020. Once again, I will review the names of the establishments. Once I've reviewed the names on the entire list, I will make a motion that we vacate these orders. The first establishment is the Natural Wine Shop LLC, license number 114571. The licensee renewed on October 29th, 2020. 14th Minimark, license number 021260. The licensee renewed on October 30th. Economy Market, license number 094127. The licensee renewed on October 30th. Mimi's Convenience, license number 089668. The licensee renewed on October 30th. Soul Mega, license number 113397. Licensee renewed on October 30th. G's Market, license number 108439. Licensee renewed on October 30th. And Save-A-Lot LLC number 8044. The licensee license number 108370. The licensee renewed on November 2nd, 2020. I there make a motion that the ABC Board vacate those cease and desist orders issued for these establishments. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Turn your microphone on, Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Do you agree or disagree, Mr. Grandis? Can you give me a thumbs up if you agree, Mr. Grandis? Can you hear me, Mr. Art?
Yes.
Mr. Grandis has agreed. Mr. Anderson has agreed. The matter passes 7-0. We now move to our docket. The first matter on our docket. The first matter on our docket, it's Chaffee Imports license number 116875. It is a new ABC license application. I make a motion that we approve this application. Is there a second?
Wabzada seconds.
Ms. Wabzada second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Wabzada. Mr. Short. Mr. Short. Mr. Short has agreed. Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wahabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis. Can you, I cannot hear you, so can you give me a heads up? Put a thumbs up. Mr. Grandis has put a thumbs up to say that he agrees. And Mr. Anderson, matter there 7-0. The next matter on our agenda, it's a request by Sherrod Poor, license number 117074 for a new ABC license. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that is properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0. The next matter on our agenda is a request from Wise Miller's Grocery, license number 005950 for a stock transfer application. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Nawab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 7-0. The next request on our docket is a request made by Coca Cabana, license number 117305 for a new ABC license. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Nawab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 7-0. The next matter on our docket is a request from the Intercontinental Washington, D.C., The Wharf, license number 114491. This is a trade name change application to add Moon Rabbit on the license. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato,
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada,
Nawab Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett,
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson,
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis,
Ed Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter therefore passes 7-0. With this now the close of our agenda, the board then will go into recess until our 1:30 hearing. Since the board is in recess, then I will ask the board members to return to the executive committee meeting, and we will come back on the record at 1:30 for our 1:30 public hearing. Thank you very much. I thought I told Hunt to.
Mr. Edison, please stop talking for a second. Mr. Short, please mute your mic on your other device.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Edison.
today I'm getting a different type of message. It's not my internet.
You guys, your audio is on the public session right now. Mr. Short, please mute your other device.
I'm trying to right now.
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on, Mr. Grandis. Hold on, Mr. Grandis. Good afternoon. We're back on the record. Our next case is case number 19 CMP 00133, Farmers and Distilleries Found in Spirits Distillery, license number 100647. This case has been canceled due to dismissal of the case by the government. See Board Order number 2020-235. The next case in our calendar is case number 19 CIT 00372, Capital Crab and Seafood, license number 106151. This hearing is canceled due to dismissal of the case by the government. See Board Order number 2020-031. The next case on our calendar is case number 19, CMP 00157, Plan B Burger Bar, license number 95796. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the government and the licensee, please?
There's no licensee on the line.
Thank you. Mr. Ortiz, can you please identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, good afternoon, board members. Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. I see that the licensee is not here. This matter is a show cause hearing status. This matter therefore will be set for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. All right, hold on 1 minute. All right, thank you. All right, the next case in our calendar is case number 19 CMP 00132, Brooklyn Pint, license number 93948. This case is canceled due to dismissal of the case by the government. See Board Order number 2020-271. The next case in our calendar is case number 19 CIT 00386, Newton Food Market, license number 94313. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the licensee in this case, please?
Mr. Alexander, your rights have been elevated.
Mr. Ania, can you please turn your camera on, please, and unmute your microphone? Mr. Ania, can you please, are you on? Mr. Ania? Let's go off the record for a couple of minutes. Mr. Ania. Do we have a phone number or something to contact Mr. Ania?
I'm going to call him now, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, there was no answer. We called 3 times and immediately went to voicemail.
All right. All right, thank you. All right, it's my understanding that all right, this matter was scheduled for a show cause status hearing. The licensee was properly served on October 8th, 2020. This hearing was scheduled. He was aware that his hearing was scheduled, but he failed to appear. So this matter then will be scheduled for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. And if for some reason that he appears before we conclude today, we can recall this case, but this matter is scheduled for a show cause hearing at date and time to be determined. All right. The next case on our show cause hearing status calendar is case number 19 CMP 00123 Hawthorne, license number 99603. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee, please?
Mr. Brogan, your rights have been elevated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Francis Brogan on behalf of the licensee.
Okay, good. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Let's start. Let's have the government identify themselves for the record, please.
Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ortiz. I'm sorry, Mr. Brogan, do you have a camera?
Yes, sir. It says it's on my end. I'm not sure if you guys can see me or not, but I can see and hear you.
Yeah, we cannot see you. All right. Can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Francis Brogan on behalf of the licensee, 1336 U Street. The last name is Brogan, Brogan.
I'm sorry, sir. Are you an attorney? I'm sorry.
I'm the owner of the establishment.
Okay, I apologize. Okay. All right. Mr. Ortiz, are there any? I can't see Mr. Brogan, but can you assert that this is Mr. Brogan?
I would not be able to. I'm not going to assert that because that was the voice that I heard when I called, which is the number was provided by Abra. So okay. I have not met Mr. Brogan before, but this is the voice that I heard yesterday when I had negotiations with him.
Okay. Since I can't see you, Mr. Brogan, so I have to make sure that we can identify who the person is who's actually on the phone. All right, so Mr. Ortiz, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
Yes, the parties have entered into an offer in compromise.
And what is it? What?
As to charge 1, increased summer garden occupancy, the term of the OIC is that the establishment shall receive a warning.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Brogan, it's my understanding that there's an offer in compromise, and the offer in compromise on the charge is that a warning will be issued to you, sir. Is this your understanding, sir, of the offer in compromise that was reached?
Yes, sir. We accept the offer, the warning offer.
All right, sir. Are you aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to a hearing?
Yes, we are.
Are you also aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to appeal this matter?
Yes.
All right. With that said, I make a motion that the offer of a written warning be accepted. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter is accepted 7-0-0. And I want to thank both parties for coming to an agreement on this matter. Thank you very much. All right. The next case on our calendar is case number 19 AUD 00082 La Lomita Dos, license number 15387. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee in this case, please?
The licensee in this case is not here.
All right. It's my understanding that the licensee was served on this case on October 8th, 2020. Mr. Ortiz, this matter then is scheduled for a show cause hearing at a date to be determined. Thank you. All right, the next case on the calendar is case number 19 CMP 00173 Uproar, license number 92012. This matter has been continued. This matter has been continued to a show cause hearing to a date to be determined. So we'll determine at a later point when this matter will be held.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Grandis, that's not necessary. So this matter has been continued. I did send you an email and I did send you a message. So this matter is been continued. Once we have a hearing, if there's something that you need to put on the record, if there's a hearing, you can raise it at that point. But because there's no hearing, the board is just continuing this matter. There's no need for you to speak on this matter. Thank you, sir. All right. The next case on our calendar is case number 19 AUD 00042 and 19 AUD 00083. Lagos Italian and Napoli Bistro, license number 95042. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee in this case, please?
The licensee has been elevated to a panelist. You may now enable your camera and your microphone.
All right. Good afternoon. Mr. Ortiz, can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Stephen Ortiz on behalf of the District of Columbia.
Mr. Tamag, can you please identify yourself for the record and please spell your name, please?
My name is Dawat Tamang.
Can you please spell your name for the record, please?
Dawat Tamang, D-A-W-A. Last name is Tamang, T-A-M-A-N-G.
Thank you, Mr. Tamang. All right, Mr. Ortiz, are there any preliminary matters in this case?
Yes, the parties have entered into an offering compromise in both cases. As to case number 19 AUD 00042, charge 1, failure to file the required quarterly statement. The establishment shall receive a written warning. As to case number 19 AUD 00083, failure to file the required quarterly statement. The term of the OIC is as follows. The establishment shall pay $2,000 within 90 days, or its license shall be suspended indefinitely until this fine is paid. And the establishment shall submit pending quarterly statements if they have not been submitted yet.
Yes, we already filed the statements.
Mr. Tamar, hold on, please. Hold on.
Sorry.
All right, Mr. Tamar. It's my understanding that there are two cases. And in the first case, case number 19 AUD 00042, that the OIC states that a written warning will be issued. Is that your understanding of the OIC, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to a hearing?
Yes, sir.
Are you also aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to appeal this matter?
Yes, sir.
All right, then the second case is case number 19 AUD 00083. And it's my understanding that there is a fine of $2,000 payable within 90 days. If the fine is not payable within 90 days, the license will be suspended until the fine has been paid, and that if there are any outstanding quarterly statements, that they will be submitted. That they will be submitted. So, do you, as far as the quarterly statements that you're making a statement about outstanding quarterly statements there?
Yeah, we already filed all the statements up to date.
Okay, all right, thank you. So
yeah, and the question, the reason was that we were having an accountant, we were sending the reports to them. They were filing the reports, but I don't know why they didn't file. And now we hired a new accountant. His name is Mr. Sood, and he is like helping us to streamline our accounts, everything. Not only your cases, he, like our old accountant, he like messed up with sales tax, withholding, and other government requirements, and we bring him here, Mr. Sood's notice, and we bring everything online. We are trying to like get resolved all the matters, and we already paid for licensing fees, and only this thing is pending. So we request you, whatever you best you can do, because of COVID thing, our business is very slow. If you can help us out or something with the like penalties and all, so in future we'll make sure no reports will be filed late.
Well, thank you for the representation, sir. But all that I can do at this moment is that the offering compromise on the second case that you agree with the government is that you make a payment of $2,000 and that the payment be made within 90 days. Is this your understanding? That's your understanding, sir, of the offering compromise?
Yes, sir.
And are you also aware that by accepting an offer in compromise that you're giving up your right to a hearing?
Yes, sir.
All right. I then make a motion that for case number, that also in case number 19 AUD 00083, that we accept this offer. So let me go back to the beginning. So I'm making a motion then for case number 19 AUD 00042, the board accepts the offer in compromise off a written warning. And for case number 19 AUD 00083, the board accepts the offer in compromise off a fine of $2,000 payable within 90 days. And the licensee has informed us that all outstanding quarterly filings have been filed. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Mr. Grandis. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Rima Wahab-Zada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter in both cases passes 7-0. I want to thank the government and the licensee for agreeing to an OIC. Thank you for that. And this matter is this matter has been concluded. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sir. One quick question.
Yes, Mr. Tamer.
Yeah. How we can pay this? We have to pay total $2,000 on this matter.
There is a drop box at the agency. You can come to the agency and drop it off. There's a drop box at the agency. You have 90 days to do it, sir. And so there's a drop box at the agency. You can drop a check off. Okay.
Is there any way we can pay off this electronically?
Why don't you contact you have 90 days to do it. So I cannot answer that question immediately. So we'll make sure that either you can call the agency and ask them for payment if you're able to pay it. I don't think that the agency will refuse your money. So we will find some way that either electronically or a live check that the residents of the District of Columbia would gladly take your $2,000, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Really appreciate, sir. Really appreciate for your help.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. All right.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. The next case in our calendar is case number 19, CMP 00151, Ibar Garden of Eden, license number 83133. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the licensee, please?
The licensee has not joined the meeting.
You said has or has not?
Has not.
Has not?
Has not.
Mr. Ortiz, is there something that you could, I mean, the licensee is not here, so we cannot, so can you explain to us what's going on?
Yeah, so yesterday, the office filed an offer in compromise for board approval. And so the licensee did sign it. Ms. Jenkins was served. And so we would have, as you all did during the break, consider that offer in compromise.
Well, all right, I have not seen, are you saying that there is a written offer and compromise that has been signed and agreed to by the licensee?
Yes, that is what I'm stating.
All right, well, if you have a written, what the board has done earlier today on our legal agenda, we have accepted a written offer and compromise that was agreed to by the government and the licensee. So I've not seen it, but if you're able to put that on the record, then the board is willing to consider it. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because your representation is that you provided this written offer to the board, and that we do have a written offer. And so, although the licensee is not here, based on your representation, the licensee has signed off on this offer and compromise, and so therefore you can present it, and the board will vote on it, sir. What is it?
All right, I will read it off for you. They have signed it, and it was provided to you all late yesterday, on November 3rd. So, in regards to case number 19 CMP 00151, the offer and compromise for board approval is as follows. The District of Columbia, jointly with the licensee, submits this offer and compromise to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board as authorized by Chapter 23 DCMR Section 1604.5 for approval by the board. The parties understand that if the board approves the OIC, this case will conclude and any scheduled show cause hearing will be vacated. Respondent will be obligated to abide by the terms of the OIC, a fine, suspension, both or other term shown below. If the board does not approve the OIC, the matter will be continued to the scheduled show cause hearing currently not set. The respondent has been advised that there is no obligation to accept an OIC. Respondent has been advised through service of the notice of status hearing and show cause hearing that a show cause hearing respondent may be represented by legal counsel, have subpoenas issued to require the production of witnesses and evidence, produce witnesses and evidence, cross-examine witnesses, and apply to the board for a qualified interpreter. The OIC terms are as follows. As to charge 1, increased summer garden occupancy, the penalty shall be a written warning provided that the establishment surrenders its license within 14 days for safekeeping during non-operation and files an application to revise occupancy on the rooftop within 60 days, which shall be filed prior to the licensee's removal from safekeeping.
All right.
Now we conclude the offer and compromise.
What I'm going to do, Mr. Ortiz, because normally I repeat the offer and compromise, but what I'm going to do is that because I don't have it in front of me, what I'm going to make the motion, and I'm going to ask you to once again review it for me. So it is my understanding that in case number 19 CMP 00151 IBAR/Garden of Eden, license number 83133, that there is a written offer in compromise that was provided to the agency by the government, and that the licensee did agree to this offer in compromise in writing. And so the agency has a written copy of this agreement. But because we're doing this matter remotely, I currently do not have a copy of it in front of me. So when I make the motion, because it's more involved than I normally have, I did not have a chance to take specific notes. So what I will do, I will make the motion, and I will ask Mr. Ortiz to, once I make the motion, to once again review the terms of the OIC for me for the board to vote. So therefore, I make a motion that the ABC board accept the offer in compromise in this particular case. And is there, and let me ask Mr. Ortiz, can you once again, for the record, please review what the terms are again for us, please?
Yes, as to charge 1, increased summer garden occupancy, the establishment shall receive a written warning provided that the establishment surrenders its license within 14 days for safekeeping during non-operation, and files an application to revise occupancy on the rooftop within 60 days, which shall be filed prior to the licenses removal from safekeeping.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that has been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short?
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato?
Bobby Cato, aye.
Ms. Wabzada?
Rima Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett? Ms.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Hanson?
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis?
Ed Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 7-0-0. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz, for presenting the offer in compromise to the board. And I just want to clarify again for the public that although the licensee is not here, we routinely, and if you had listened to our hearing this morning on our legal agenda, I did the same thing where we had a written offer in compromise that was signed by both the government and the licensee, and the board reviewed it and accepted it. And so in this particular case, it was appropriate for Mr. Ortiz to provide on the record a written offer in compromise that was accepted, that has been signed by the licensee. And based on COVID and the fact that we're doing all these hearings remotely, a policy that was accepted by the board is that we do accept written offers in compromise and normally the government is not here and the licensee is not here, and we still accept those written offers in compromise. I just want to clarify the record so the general public will know that we're not doing anything out of the ordinary. So thank you again, Mr. Ortiz, for your presentation. All right. The next case in our calendar is case number 19 CIT 00286, Don Bureau DC, license number 106315. This hearing is canceled due to the dismissal of the case on October 28, 2020. See board order number 2020-343. Thank you. We are at the end of our agenda and we are at the end of our day. And unless there are any other business, I will formally close this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz, for your presentation. If you can sign off if you so desire, or you can stay on to listen to what I read. But I think that your business in front of the board is over, and I want to thank you for your participation today, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Anderson, and all the other board members. You all have a good one.
Thank you very much. All right. As chairperson of the Alcohol Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with DC Official Code Section 2574B of the Open Meetings Act, I move that the ABC Board hold a meeting on November 5th, 2020, for the purpose of seeking legal advice from our counsel on the matters identified on the board's legal, license and investigative agenda for November 5th, 2020, as published in the DC Register on October 30th, 2020. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. I will now take a roll call vote on the motion that has now been properly seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Wabzada.
Wabzada, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Ed Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. As it appears that the motion has passed 7-0, I hereby give notice that the ABC Board will hold this closed meeting pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. Notice will also be posted on the ABC Board Hearing Room Bulletin Board, placed on the electronic calendar on ABRA's website, and published in the DC Register in as timely a manner as practical. The board is now formally adjourned for our public session, and I will ask the board to return to its executive session. Thank you very much, and thank you, the public, for your participation today. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.